All right, we're live with the Salt Mine episode 7. First time. This is a Malifaux Twitch stream in which we go through a recent game of mine, just talk about it, see what I did wrong, what I did right, try to guess the schemes the opponent's trying to run, and just have a good time with it. As always, this stream is all about the chat, so please let me know you're here, talk to me, and we'll have a good time, all right? So let's get started. Tonight's Strats and Schemes. We were playing a game of wedge deployment with public enemies, leave your mark, research mission, hidden martyrs, claim jump, and runic binding. First thing to note, of course, is you've got the duo of leave your mark and claim jump, which always means there's going to be some real fighting over the middle. Not what I wanted to see given my master choice, but we will go forward with it. So tonight, oh, look at that typo. That's a good one. We got Basse with 3 S's. Cornelius Basse, that is, playing, in this case, in Guild, versus Jack Daw. And Jack Daw was playing in Outcast tonight. So, my opponent, Brien from Schemes and Stones fame, was playing as Jack. With Basse, I took Baby Basse, Reichert, Austringer, Pale Rider, and 3 Frontiersmen. Not my normal list, either for playing against Jack Daw or for playing with Basse, but I've been wanting to try to get the Deputy going. Didn't really think through what Jack Daw does, so that didn't work super well, but you'll see that as it goes. My opponent had Jack Daw with Lady Legia, Jakuna Ibume, the Emissary, the Guilty, the Prospector, the Montresor, and the Hanged. I didn't write down upgrades. I'm realizing I believe that Jack Daw had Servant on him because he got that beginning of the game move going on. So this is our battlefield. As you can see, we've got that big graveyard right in the middle. We called all of that severe. We've got the rocks that are 4 inches tall that we're going to be blocking. They were really going to make a big difference this game because they were going to control the way that area of severe was able to be seen. Got a lake there, some buildings, and a rock, but it really meant we were going to be funneled for the most part into the fight areas. So yeah, when I was thinking about this map, my thought was where we'd end up seeing fights were mainly right around here, and I hoped in here because I could take advantage of quicksand, but it was a matter of seeing what happened because I didn't really want to get my guys bogged down in there and his floating through no problem. I didn't think about the fact that I could move through it no problem either, but I knew that the ability to make severe terrain give me cover really wouldn't be much use against this crew. There weren't guns for the most part besides I think the Hanged. So I wasn't really relying on that. So, scheme selection. I knew he was going to try to control the middle on me. I don't have the ability to control space with this crew, so I didn't really plan on trying to do either of the take the middle schemes. I knew he'd want to kill Reichert. Reichert and the Pale are really my threatening killers in the crew, and so I knew that they'd have to go. I ended up taking Reichert as my martyrs because I tend to throw him forward and let him brawl it out, and I knew that he really wouldn't survive all that long against a Jack Daw crew that wanted him dead. I knew I could put him with Baby Basse and leave Baby Basse for the most part back. She's a little more survivable than she looks, so I thought I'd probably be able to keep her alive. I planned to bunch up. I took runic binding. It's funny. I don't know that that's a good choice, but every time I get to reveal to my opponent that I'm doing runic binding, it really makes me excited. So I decided to take that one as well. I should have looked more carefully at his list to realize there's a prospector there, which would make that much more difficult. But it is what it is. Pre-turn 1, what he would be doing. I thought leave your mark and claim jump was a real natural for that crew. My plan was to use the ability on Frontier Home on the Range to deploy wide. Since it was wedge deployment, I didn't put the deployment markers on here. But, I mean, you can picture it. It was basically I can't draw a straight line with these that well, but something like that. So home on the range is going to let me go wide as much as it is going to let me go long, and I didn't really want to get right up into Jack right away anyway, so that made a lot more sense to me. So deployment. So here's what we were looking at with deployment. I had the Jacuna Bume, or he had Jacuna Bume, the Hanged, and the Hodgepodge and the Montrose are kind of coming forward with Legia coming in behind, and the Guilty looking like he was going to try to come up one flank. I really should have set up on the other side of that graveyard. It wasn't my smartest move. It would have been better, but I wanted that. I was thinking I would get more protection from that lake than I would from the other side. Don't know why I thought that, but I ended up going mainly to that side. He ended up actually using Servant to move Jack up to right about here. I don't think I marked it as a separate thing. So right after the initiative flip, he moves Jack up to there. You can see the models with the markers. They had the... Oh, it wasn't public enemies. It was recover evidence. I'm sorry, I labeled that wrong, and I labeled it wrong throughout the episode. But those are the models with the evidence markers. So, end of turn 1. So what ends up happening is I activate first, and I actually activate my master because he's got, as I said, he's got Jack up here. He tried to put him out of sight, but I was able to push over, use quicksand to move Jack back to his deployment zone, and just, I want to say focus and move back, but maybe walk over, shoot, walk back. So we put Jack up there to start the turn. He moves Jacuna down to threaten for next turn. We've got, everyone else kind of moves up a bit slower, so we've got the Hodgepodge, the Montressor, and the Prospector just sits back there doing his thing. You can actually see where he put the Jack Daw too. I think this was taken right before he moves Jack over. So what ends up happening is I use all the pushes on the Frontierman to move Reichert up near here, and then the Pale Rider to walk and ride with me up to there to threaten the Hanged turn 1, or the Guilty turn 1. He turns around and uses the Hanged to get up there to try to stop that. He does a little bit of damage to Reichert. Reichert hits him back, knocks him down to 2 wounds. I think I red Jokered the damage flip on that. And then Jack comes over, and I don't think he's able to help, but he just comes all this way to threaten for future turns. So going to that turn, I think he's probably got claim on Jacuna. I mean, what am I going to do about that? She'll put up her hazardous aura, and my stuff will just slowly melt. So I don't really have a good option for contesting that. I figure he probably has Leave Your Mark as well. But we will see. Going into, so turn 2, and what ends up going down, I think I spent high for initiative. And I'm able to kill the Hanged and get Reichert up there into the Guilty and kill the Guilty as well. The Guilty drops his marker. That puts the upgrade on Reichert, and Reichert's in trouble. He doesn't take a lot of damage, but he does take some. Basse moves up. The Frontiermen are able to actually, I think they red Joker a damage flip on the Emissary. I move up. The Austrian are going to try to block claim jump there. And I think Montressor kind of just flails. I don't think he does a lot. He declares his hidden martyrs. It was the Guilty and Jacuna, which was a problem for me. I don't have my runic binding yet, of course, and I don't have hidden martyrs. I think I did get a recover evidence point though, so call that 1. I don't think he's, because I was able to get it off of the Hanged. I think maybe the Pale activates, kills the Hanged, grabs the marker, and then I want to say Riker gets pulled that way by an ability on the Montressor. Well, next turn, going to the next turn, I know one of his schemes at this point, but I don't know the other. I assume, again, claim jump, leave your mark is still kind of what I'm looking at. I'm trying to block claim jump and leave your mark the best I can. I've got the Austringer there to do it, but I need to drop a scheme marker to really contest, and that's not an easy thing for me to do given the hazardous aura and everything. So, turn 3. Turn 3 gets really interesting. Riker goes down, popping out a new guilty. The rider charges in, pulses his aura, and I was hoping to take out Legia, and I think I Black Joker a damage flip. I'm not able to do so. I get his emissary down to 1 wound, but he's able to heal all the way back up. And so the rider takes a pounding. Jack moves over to try to knock the evidence marker out of this frontiersman over here. And the Austringer backs off. Or sorry, I think he comes over there to contest the rider, and then the rider rides in, because I don't remember why else he would have been over there. So we've got, I'm able to pick up an evidence point, as is he. I'm able to drop my 3 markers for Runic Binding, which I was very excited about. Karstein's very excited about the Runic Binding call and tells us a story about German war machine heyday with soldiers drinking out of the tap. The game store, I guess, let them stay in the store to finish their game and told them to lock up when they leave, but they didn't turn off the tap, and the soldiers that were part of the war machine crowd were drinking directly out of the tap. Not the best thing to do, but it is what it is. He's able to score his leave your mark right here in the center. I'm able to get my first point of martyrs with baby Basse, but she is now in a position where she's staring down Jack, who can come stop her for the second point. So at this point, all the schemes are declared. I'm not trying to guess anything. Looking at turn 4. Turn 4, as I said, baby Basse was staring down Jack Daw, and I think he won initiative, and that was just his first move, was to come over here, finish her off, and take her token. We end up with an interesting rule issue, and I want to research this. I don't know the answer. The frontiersmen are able to, when a frontier model gets damaged close to them, they can take a shot by discarding a card. This is why I brought them for the deputy ability. So the question ends up being, is this severe aura here Jacuna causing the damage? If it is, that will let me trigger those shots, and they're out of plus flip. So I think, oh, this is my chance to take out Jacuna. I get a bunch of extra shots at plus flips on Jacuna with the 2 frontiersmen here, and I can't even touch her. She doesn't. She laughs them off. I don't have a lot of cards left because I think I used them trying to keep the rider alive. But I am able to knock the Montressor to make him use his demise, which is enough to drop his marker, and I'm able to get the marker from something else that was over there, and I can't remember what to save my life. But at that point, I am at, there's no way I was at 3 markers. I think that we counted the points wrong, and I was only at 2. Because I'm seeing 5, those 3 models on the board. I hadn't picked up the Montressor's marker yet. Oh, no, I picked up the emissary's marker. He had gotten knocked down to his hard to wound, so he dropped his. Basse had picked that up this turn, and then was able to then get up there for the next turn. he starts setting up his second leave your mark point. You can see the markers there and there. He kills the Austringer and sets up to pick up that one there. And I just try to set up to use my movement tricks to try to stop that leave your mark. Basse, I think, is either staggered at the end of the turn or the beginning of the turn. I don't remember which. I did manage to keep Jack from getting a lot of upgrades out. It was about my only real victory that I had going on here. I think I've been playing Basse wrong. The pushes Basse away. I think I've been playing it as pushing the enemy model away. And when I read it through tonight, I started to think I'd probably been playing that wrong. End of the game. So what ends up happening, Basse is staggered, but he's able to pick up that marker, push 3, walk, and do his own 0 action to clear 2 markers that my opponent had down. Unfortunately, the prospector is able to drop a marker, walk over, drop a marker, and use his 0 action to drop another one. I'm not able to get over there to stop him. I try to have Runic on the hodgepodge, and I can't. He moves down too far away from the marker up there, and I can't get another person over there to drop one. And that's pretty much the game. I can't get that Runic point. I can't get Hidden Martyrs because he's killed both the models. He tries to engage Basse with Jacuna, but I do have the push on the Frontiersman, and because Basse is no longer staggered, I'm able to get him out so that he is not vulnerable to that. All in all, really good game. Brien was a lot of fun to play against. We end up in a 6-6 tie, which is you can't, and it was down to the last moments. Both of us were threatening one more scheme there at the end, so it was really a close, fun game. I made my list without thinking about the opponent. I really need to work on that. I get ideas I want to try, and I don't let the fact that it's not going to work well into the opposing crew stop me, and that's just a bad thing. I didn't think about the hand attack, which the deputy ability just doesn't work if they're emptying your hand. So I didn't really get a lot there. I had a lot of stones, and that was good, nice against Jack. Kept Assassinate from really going down. There was one point where he almost declared Assassinate on Riker, but if he had the demise to pop out a guilty, wouldn't have gone off, so he ended up not declaring it. It was really kind of interesting interplay there. I walked into Hidden Martyrs again. Still bad at denying leave your mark. Those two things are really happening. Runic, I put a lot of energy into, and I wasn't really smart about it. It's so many actions to try to get Runic out unless you have something that puts out markers at range. Really was jealous of the Prospector and its ability to put out markers at a long range. I know there are other models in the game that do it as well, but I was finding myself to be very jealous of those models, especially ones that can also deny with picking up markers. My predictions, I don't know why I don't expect Martyrs. I think I've had a guilty in Martyrs in almost every game against Daw I've had, except for I think the other one I had on the stream. I think my opponent faked Martyrs, made me think it was on the guilty, and then it actually wasn't. I think of the hanged as 10 points. It wasn't hang guilty this time, it was hang Jacuna, but I tend to assume it's that, and I end up paying for it. So I want special thanks this week to my opponent Brien. His Davos on the forums. He's from Schemes and Stones. He's excellent on Schemes and Stones. They have a new episode out today. It was very good. Go check it out. The proprietors of the historic Haven Gaming Club, they're always supportive. They're a finest place to play. I know I'm not around there right now because of the pandemic, but I do appreciate them and everything they do. My incredibly patient wife, I love that. I love everything about her, and I'm real glad that she puts up with the kind of noise I make doing this. I want to talk. If you want to talk more foe, come to the Swamp Fiends Discord or the Guild Facebook chat. You want more quality foe media? Check out the following podcasts: Third Floor Wars, Swamp Fiends, Rage Quit Wire, Capital City Crew, Gaming with the Salty Slacker, The Other Coast, Steam Powered Scoundrels, Schemes and Stones, or Harlefaux. There are also great YouTube out there for you to check out. The Household Gamer, Dan Brown, TNG Productions, James Dyson, Skirmish Miniature Gaming, Geeky Villain, Intensely Relaxed Gaming, Gorilla Miniature Gaming, and once again the Russian site that I apologize, I do not know the Cyrillic alphabet to read that. If you do know someone that would enjoy getting on the conversation here, tell them about the stream. I'm not advertising outside of what I am allowed to do by post. So word of mouth really is the best way to improve the stream. Please let people know about the stream. I enjoy doing it, but it really is only fun when I have people to interact with on the stream. Don't really like talking to myself, but I would love to hear from you. So we will see you next week, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much and have a good week.